is not as it appears, but is as it performs, who has seen something through from beginning to completion, who looks at the mundane and sees magnificence.
My old colleague on Capitol Hill, Tennessee Congressman Marsha Blackburn, center stage in Cleveland tonight. Speaking of my old friends from Capitol Hill, let's welcome in a gentleman who I know pretty well. He's the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Pete Hoekstra, former congressman from Michigan, currently a Shillman Senior Fellow at the Investigative Project on Terrorism, author of the book Architects of Disaster, The Destruction of Libya. And Pete joins us live from the convention. Hey, Pete, it's good to have you here on our coverage tonight.
Hey, JD, it's great to be with you. It's kind of crazy here.
Yeah, well, it's a convention. People are dancing. The music is playing, and hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully you can hear this next thing, because last night the contrast couldn't have been clearer. Of course, we've been talking about the Ted Cruz speech live at the convention, but another one of the guys who ran for the nomination, another young senator, Marco Rubio of Florida, joined the convention via video, with almost like a political commercial. Let's watch and listen to it, and then I'll ask for your reaction.
Hillary Clinton does not have the honesty, the courage, or the independence to be the president we need for the next 4 years, after the president we've had for the past 8. But unlike Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump is committed to cut taxes, curb spending, and get our national debt under control. Unlike Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump takes seriously the threats from Islamic radicals and is committed to rebuilding our military.
So, Pete, our friend Richard Viguerie said that Ted Cruz committed political suicide last night. Did we witness a political resuscitation with Senator Marco Rubio in that short video?
Well, I think we got to be careful not to read too much into any particular event, but clearly, hey, Marco we never wrote his obituary. He's a young guy, he's a talented guy, and I think last night, clearly helped him get back on the right track. Ted Cruz is going to be a whole other situation. I'll tell you, being here on the floor and listening to it, he teased the delegates once, he teased us twice, he teased us 3 times, saying, and you're thinking, all right, the next sentence is going to be, and let's all vote for Donald Trump. And then it never came, and then the boos started coming. I talked to some of our friends from the Texas delegation earlier tonight, and because I watched what happened this morning at the Texas delegation, and I'll tell you, they're angry with their senator, and they want to win in November, and they think that their senator didn't do anything to help make that happen.
Well, let's help make more conversation happen and discussion, and to do so, we go to the phones at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Out to Pacheco, California for Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Hello, Cheryl. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Cheryl. Welcome.
Hi. I was getting some stamps and a label.
Uh-oh, stamps and a label. You're going to send us a letter. Okay, good. Well, what's...
No, I'm trying to get... I sold some stock.
Well, okay. Well, good for you. What worries you the most as you're watching the convention tonight? Is it the economic situation we're facing? What weighs most heavily on your mind as a voter, Cheryl?
I would like to know what Donald Trump is going to do to help the middle-class people that are left behind and are forgotten about.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious, and Pete, you may want to take this, but one thing that Donald Trump has been addressing is the fact that wages have stagnated and the real earning power has declined for America's middle class because we have a market distortion. We've brought in illegal, cheap labor that has undercut the honest labors of American citizens and hurt the American people. So he's going to work to rectify that. And also, of course, Pete, in terms of the tax code, bringing American jobs back by saying, hey, corporations, hey, businesses, you stay in America, you'll pay less in corporate taxes. What appeals to you, Pete, about the Trump economic plan?
Well, I'll tell you, he is resonating with voters in Michigan. Today, I think we announced our unemployment rate in Michigan. It's down to 4.6, so it's 10 points lower than where we were at our peak. But the bottom line is, yeah, the middle class is hurting. She's absolutely right. Wages have stagnated. We're talking a lot because we want Michigan to be in play in this election. And all the indications are that Trump is talking to the Reagan Democrats, the people in Macomb County, the Macomb County Democrats that put Michigan in play. Those blue collar workers who have felt their fortune slip away, who've seen their jobs go to trade deals, bad trade deals, and the illegal immigrants. So they're enthused. The union vote is split. So I think, I think this whole economic package is a message that's going to resonate in what they used to call the Rust Belt.
Well, you mentioned the Rust Belt, but let's go to the Sun Belt, to the Palmetto State of South Carolina. Down Gaston Way, Maxine is on the telephone, and she's got a couple of things to say. Hi, Maxine.
Hi.
Welcome, and go right ahead.
Appreciate you taking my call.
You bet.
I'm going for Trump because economy and all is down. We need somebody in there, and he's a good businessman, so we need somebody in there size voting Hillary in there to bring us back down where we at with Obama. Okay, and another thing is anybody that's a Republican needs to back the Republicans.
All right, Maxine, appreciate the way you see it from Gaston, South Carolina. Pete, let me ask you about this because Maxine points out Donald Trump's success in business. But I've got a question about another guy who you and I know pretty well. In fact, you were backing him. Ohio Governor John Kasich, just down the interstate in Columbus. He was up in Cleveland the other day, but he refused to come to the convention. Have you talked to John, heard from John? Why on earth wouldn't the governor of the hosting state of the convention show up at least to welcome the delegates?
JD, I really can't figure it out. John's a friend of mine. I served on the budget committee back in the 90s with John. I supported John in this campaign. I traveled New Hampshire with him. I traveled Michigan with him. And, he has the best interests of the country in mind. But, he needs to get on board. You and I remember him. He was pretty tough and he was pretty brash when he was a committee chairman on the budget committee back in the 1990s. In some ways, he reminded me of a younger Donald Trump. And so why he wouldn't come here and at least welcome the delegates. I'll tell you, Cleveland and Ohio, they've been awesome. It's been a great convention. They've welcomed us. The Democratic mayor of Cleveland came here. John should have come here, but John also needs to get on board because we need to win this election. We need to elect Donald Trump. We need to make sure Hillary doesn't get into the White House.
And just for the record, you have made that transition to the Trump train 100%, eh?
Absolutely. My focus for the last 10 years in Congress was on foreign policy. This is an administration that has embraced the Muslim Brotherhood. These people want to destroy America. They want to destroy the West. And this administration, the first administration in American history, has embraced the Muslim Brotherhood. And they have embraced the Muslim Brotherhood front groups here in the United States. They've allowed them access into the State Department, into the White House to shape our foreign policy, and it's been disastrous. We've got 5 failed states: Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan. The trend line is good for the radical jihadists, and we need to turn that around. Hillary won't do it. Donald Trump will.
And Pete, tonight, given your concerns, given the questionable stewardship of our foreign policy and national security under President Obama, what do you think you will hear from Donald Trump tonight? We've got about 45 seconds, Pete.
Who knows what we're going to hear from Donald Trump? I mean, that's those of us that have been in politics for a while, he's done everything outside of the playbook. I mean, we can anticipate he'll talk about foreign policy, radical jihadists, but how will he say it? How will he make the difference? How will he make the case? He's been it's been a very unique way of him presenting his message and making his case. I'm looking forward to seeing the speech and seeing exactly how he delivers, but we're going to have to look through it through a non-traditional lens.
Well, Pete Hoekstra, we appreciate that cautionary note and your time tonight live from the convention in Cleveland. Pete Hoekstra, always a pleasure to have you here on Newsmax TV. Thanks so very much. Now, you may have some comments. We've already got comments coming in from our callers literally coast to coast, and we welcome your calls too at 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. We're about a half an hour away, supposedly, from Donald Trump taking the stage. We'll monitor that, and we'll have lots more to discuss as our coverage of the Republican National Convention continues.